Reporters at the Washington Post are under fire for their apparent complicity in a crime at the National Gallery of Art. Vandals smeared paint on the case and pedestal of Edgar Degas' sculpture, Little Dancer, aged 14. The stunt, conveniently caught on tape, was reportedly an effort to draw attention to the phony climate crisis and urge Biden to declare a climate emergency. According to the Daily Caller, these so-called activists tipped off the Washington Post before their act of vandalism. The advance notice of the crime to WaPo is also being confirmed by the Justice Department. Taking to Twitter, meteorology and climate sciences expert Ryan Mao writes, the U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C. filed felony conspiracy charges against 2 delusional climate protesters involved in damaging the Little Dancer at the National Gallery of Art. The pair were arrested, jailed, and face a minimum of 5 years in prison. They should plead guilty. If you do the crime, then you need to do the time. Amen to that. But what about the action, or lack thereof, by the Washington Post? They knew a crime was going to be committed, yet did nothing to stop it. Joining me now with his take, Director of MRC-TV, Eric Scheiner. Thanks so much for being with us, Eric. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So what do you make of this, Eric? Should the Washington Post be held accountable, seeing as they're ultimately complicit in knowing and allowing this crime to take place?
It's an interesting question. I mean, how far would you go to push your leftist agenda? Would you want to be accessory to a crime? It seems in Washington's Post case, yeah, absolutely. They knew about it. They did nothing to stop it, but they made sure they had their reporter there. And the person that reported on it is also the person that shot the video. And then they write an article talking about, how radical tactics can persuade people to be sympathetic to the climate issue. So this was part of that leftist narrative. This is what they want to push, this climate agenda. And, well, if we have to be accessory to actual crimes, instead of maybe, I don't know, tipping authorities off when you have this kind of information, then they're willing to do it. They're willing to, go hand in hand with these types of activists.
Yeah, it sure does seem that way. And I'm just curious, Eric, I'd love to get your take. Do you think these climate activists, or climatards, as I like to call them, actually accomplish anything productive by defacing property and valuable artwork?
I don't think anyone told them that artwork by itself generally doesn't cause climate change, but the chemicals to clean up the mess that they make by spreading paint everywhere, those chemicals are probably a little more toxic to the environment. But they don't care. They don't care. My favorite, you didn't actually play the clip of the video, but the funniest part is when the guy's like, we are adults. You certainly don't act like it. You act like a bunch of little children throwing a temper tantrum. I'm going to take my paint and throw it on the wall. Good for you. I don't think you accomplish much of anything other than cheesing normal people off.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Now let's switch gears and get into the Target insanity. Here's what MSDNC has to say on the matter.
When Target caves into this, then it says that the moment you threaten the employees of even a very large corporation, you get to control its policies. This is economic terrorism, literally terrorism.
Wow. So according to the ever so tolerant left, boycotting Target is now literally terrorism. Eric, I was actually going to say whatever brand designed those rather hideous glasses that chap was wearing is literally terrorism, but I digress. What are your thoughts, Eric?
Well, here we go. If you don't shop at Target, you're a terrorist. I guess this explains how MSNBC maybe gets advertisers. If you don't advertise with us, you're a domestic terrorist. Perhaps this is the economic model they run by. I mean, this is ridiculous. And he actually says, if you don't go there and buy these things, so unless people go to a place they don't want to go, buy things that they don't want, and support causes that they don't want to endorse, they're terrorists. So choosing where you spend your own money, that's terrorism now? This is absolutely the silliest thing they could have possibly said.
Yeah, absolutely.